You are now entering the horror sanctum.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ, and summer is upon us. And with summer comes vacation, swimming pools, tan lines, and of course, summer camp, which is where we're heading today. Camp Pineway, to be exact. Of course, I'm talking about 2025's Hell of a Summer, directed, written, and starring Finn Wolfhard and Billy Burke. I guess you say Burke, B-R-Y-K. If you're unfamiliar, this is a newer movie, despite being made, I think, in 2019. So there will be spoilers. Camp counselor Jason Hochberg thinks his biggest problem is feeling out of touch with these teenage coworkers. What he doesn't know is that a mysterious mass killer is lurking on the campgrounds, brutally picking off victims one by one.
Hell of a Summer. So this is a summer camp horror film. It's a summer camp slasher film. And you would think that there's a lot of summer camp slasher films, but when you actually go down the list, there's not that many. There's the Sleepaway Camp series, Madman, The Burning, Friday 13th. Those are the big ones that I can think of. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but really, when most people think of summer camp horror films, they're thinking of Friday 13th or Sleepaway Camp.
Heavyweights.
Heavyweights.
That
Yes.
counts. Count it.
It does. I mean, I really, Ben Stiller's kind of a villain. He is a villain in that, so it's
How many
um,
kids died during the making of that movie?
of heavyweights. Um, so yeah, just as a film itself, I liked it. I think the fact that Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard they directed it. I didn't know that till after I watched it, and that's really impressive for someone that young. I think Finn Wolfhard's like 22. So that's pretty crazy to see a 22-year-old direct a film. And I know there have been young directors who have made movies. Like I was looking up a list of like youngest directors ever to make their first movie. Like I know Orson Welles was like 24 when he did Citizen Kane, which is crazy. So there are some surprises out there. It's just you never think about it. But yeah, it's your standard summer camp slasher type film, but it's got humor in it. I think that's where this is unique. Is it's a summer camp slasher, but it's a lot of humor. The lead character, he's very likable. He's like this nerdy guy. He won't grow up. He's coming back to be a camp counselor, and it's kind of funny because he is supposed to be older than them, but if you actually look up that actor, he's actually younger than some of the people in the film that are the other counselors. So he's not as old. He just got the beard, and I think they made him look older. There's actually a few characters that are like 2 or 3 years older than him in real life. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's a whodunit film. It kind of sets up the same way you would think. There's an intro scene where the lead like owners of the camp get killed. So the whole movie you're trying to figure out who's the killer, and it's pretty standard in that sense. I think the build up to the killer is cool. I think when they reveal the killers, that's kind of a letdown. It's kind of passe a little bit. And I think maybe they did that for a reason. Maybe it was because they wanted to use that as part of the plot with, you're trying to figure out how they're going to get back in the group and how they're going to like manipulate the situation. And then you find out they're going to blame the main guy, Jason, for the killings. So I think, it does work. I think there's a lot of funny moments in it. I think he makes it work. I think that character is like the best part of it. If you took him out of it, I don't think it would be as good. But, I think for a film that's like the first time I think directing for this Billy Burke, Finn Wolfhard, for being a slasher film, for the way it's shot, I think it's solid, I mean, I've seen directors who have made movies for many, many, many years do way worse than this. I mean, you think about Randy Harlan. He's done so many shitty movies and he's been doing it forever, so overall, I did like it. It's not perfect, it's not great, but I definitely would buy it if I ever saw it out. So, what'd you guys think?
Yeah, I saw this one in the theater. I'd been seeing some buzz for this for a while, and I was like, wow, that kid from Stranger Things who's super young is making a 80s throwback camp slasher. Yeah, count me in. Why not? Even though the buzz after, you know, critical buzz was starting to come out wasn't great. It's kind of mixed, but I mean, movies like this always critics hate, right? Uh, they hate the Friday the 13th. They hate the sleepaway camps, all the stuff. And as John's listing all those, I'm like, can I think of other ones other than the ones he's listed? I can't, not immediately. I think Netflix did one called Bloody Summer Camp that has a lot of similarities apparently to this one, including a devil
Was
mask
was
killer.
Final Girls, or was that one
Final
summer camp?
was that King? I think it was a little bit. Yeah, that was a good
The
horror comedy.
Final Girls with that the guy from the Pitch Perfect
Adam
movies.
Devine.
Yeah. That's a good movie. I like that. Yeah, but I mean, like, less if you don't count all the numerous sequels of Friday the 13th and just series as a whole, I mean, you can't name two handfuls of them really, which is amazing because it's become one of the tropes, that people like to talk about is, oh, that's a bunch of teenagers getting killed in the woods at camp, whatever. But that's literally all because Friday the 13th. Uh, and is my sound still shitty? I gotta get a new attachment to this Mac, which I have one in my closet. I've just been. Tell me when it's better. I'll cut this out and
That sounds
post.
good.
Better now?
Say something else.
Yeah, I can see it's
It's
Okay.
better.
It's
Yeah,
better.
that-
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
That's
so
good
much
now.
okay. Yeah. It's just got a short. I
Well,
got
just say you were in the bathroom for that segment.
All right. So, yeah, I love this movie. I don't love this, but that was a little hard. I like this movie. It for what it's doing. It's it's a loving parody, or not even a parody. It's a homage to the camp uh, slashers of the '80s, the sleepaway camps, the Friday the 13th. But it's very much the Gen Z version of that, right? It's got uh, the attitude of the kids today. It's that's the thing it brings that's new to the table, which I'm not of that generation, so I don't resonate with that as much as I do the older ones. I imagine a lot of younger people would probably connect with the tone and some of the dialogue and the modernisms of um, you know just the way it's set up and the way the characters act are a lot different than they did 40 years ago now, which I think is probably a strength of it for the audience it's intended for. um, I like it for what it is. It doesn't do, if there's any criticism I have for it, it doesn't do anything really new at all that we haven't seen before. uh, Spoilers, it basically steals the double killer idea of Scream. That's a 30-year-old thing now. The devil mask, I've literally seen that same devil mask. It was the almost identical mask that was in the Scream Queens TV show, and apparently also almost the same mask that was in that Netflix Bloody Summer Camp. Other people's drawn that comparisons. Apparently, there's a number of comparisons that can be drawn to that film. Uh, so, I mean, if you like summer camp slashers with teenagers and you want a more modern update version of that, this is a good entry level, especially to people who are under the age of 30 now that didn't grow up on Friday the 13th and sleepaway camps. Um, but yeah, it doesn't do anything new. I would rewatch it. I wouldn't rewatch it like until I've had some distance from it and maybe forget a little bit about it. I do, similar to John, think the guy Jason, which obviously Jason is an homage to Jason from Friday the 13th. I do think his character is the linchpin that makes this whole thing work. It would be probably a point down for me without him being able to pull together with just his blind uh, naivete and just ignorance But a lovable ignorance, of uh, this guy that doesn't have his life figured out, but thinks that camp is just the best thing. He's holding on to nostalgia. We all know those people that have held on to nostalgia or to something maybe just a few years past the prime of when it's acceptable to do so. And you know, I think we root for his character ultimately, and he earns that throughout the film. And he's trying to do the right things, trying to keep everybody alive, even though he's not the best at that. But what do you think?
So, I don't know why I started writing stuff down while you were talking. Let's a round of applause for myself for having seen a non-popular horror film and being able to reference it with the Final Girls.
Right. That's a pull.
Props.
That's a pull.
I haven't even seen that movie, Final
You
Girls.
haven't? Oh,
No,
wow.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
I have
It's
it on my
worth the
shelf.
watch. It's really
great.
good.
I do too.
And then holding on to this nostalgia, that made me think of Needful Things, the guy with the Letterman jacket. And that's every small town in America. There's that guy that just still thinks he's in high school and never got past being a football player that was popular in school. But that's what this guy is kind of leaning towards, except he's the nerdy version of that, right? He's kind of stuck as a child in a man's body. He doesn't want to grow up, even to the point where he's not driving himself there. His mom's driving him to the summer camp. So Finn Wolfhard, good for him. He's making a little niche for himself, directing, acting, being in a band, being a Lego figure.
He's also a member of the A24 family now. He was in The Legend of Oshi, which I watched this weekend.
There you go. So this was released by Neon, which when I was doing a little reading about this, they're considering Neon the new A24 because A24 is becoming more mainstream. So, and Neon's the one releasing Toxic Avenger, right?
I don't know.
Cineverse.
I knew it was one of those.
Terrifier.
But Neon's doing all Osgood Perkins stuff right now. So
They've been pretty good, yeah.
and long legs.
There you go. So they're obviously willing to take risks on things. The biggest thing I wrote, and you can see it on my thing, it's too dark. Can we get past that in horror films? You don't see hardly any of the kills because it's in black, not even black and white. It's just black. Like there's the scene that didn't make sense to me was also so dark that you couldn't even see how she died. But the girl staring out the window and said, "Finally, you wanted to die. You were waiting to be killed." Like that made no sense to me. That she would just be waiting to be murdered unless she just wanted the sweet, sweet death because this movie was actually filmed in 2025 and she realized who the president still was. Anyway. I made a couple of notes, so bear with me. The killers made no sense to me. The girl would not be working at that summer camp. She was too bougie to be working at a summer camp. Why would she come back and work there again if she had ever worked there before? And then the guy wanted to stop. They have the scene where he's like, "Oh, stop!" But then he's trying to murder that guy, and he has a boner because he's so turned on at the thought of killing. So that didn't make sense to me. Like I feel like they were just writing things and they forgot the things that had already happened. That was a funny scene though in horror comedy where he's like, "Do you have an erection?" He's like, "Don't look at that." While he's trying to kill the guy on the floor. I thought that was pretty funny, but it didn't fit with what they had tried to establish earlier that she was kind of making him go along with her plan to be famous, which is a dumb plan to be famous. If you're an attractive young woman, there's far better ways to become famous in our culture.
But it's essentially the
As a
exact.
serial killer.
It's essentially though the exact same reason the girl in Scream 4, her whole.
Oh, Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts.
Yeah. They essentially stole that whole thing.
Well, she was going to use it as like a springboard. This girl, I mean, yeah, basically it's all the same thing, but her whole plan was stupid. Like, if you're going to become like when they changed the direction, that made more sense. Where, we're going to be the lone survivors of somebody else, and that's going to be what makes us famous. And because if your goal is to be famous the way that girl wants to be famous, why would you want to be famous in prison? Like, what do you get from that? You don't get glitz and glamour. You get an orange jumpsuit and flip-flops. So that didn't make sense. It made sense once it swapped. So yeah, that was my note. If you're gonna come up with a shallow reason for murder, make it a little better. um, the guy being pissed about not getting killed cracked me up. He was mad because he thought they were being killed in order of hotness, and I was like, that is such a Zennial, whatever, Gen Z sort of thing. It reminded me of the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where he comes on the bus. Leatherface comes on the bus and they all take out their cameras and he's like, if you touch me, I'll sue. Like that's this generation, is like, they don't even rationalize. It didn't even rationalize to him that people are being killed. That's not the point. It's like, why am I still alive? I should have been dead at least a second because I'm hot. That cracked me up more than anything else in this movie. It has a 52% critic score, 56% audience score, and I think that's pretty fair. I think this is a very average film, which is sad because it has a lot there that could have been really good. Like, this could have been a modern camp horror classic with a little tweaking. And I think that's the naivety or the youth on display, that Billy Brick or Bryke and then Finn Wolfhard, being so young, they just haven't had the experience to really write something fully. It feels like they had the idea and they fit some stuff in that was fun, and a little scary, but it just didn't come together as well as it felt like it could have. Because there are moments in this movie that's great. The beginning, the kills in the beginning, you don't see the first one. The second one I really enjoyed, because that trope in horror films where you get in the car and then you turn the lights on and poof, the killer's right there. He wasn't. He or she was in the back seat, and you see her looking like she's terrified, and then her head slides forward and you see the knife that was through the seat. I thought that was a really unique kill, and it had moments where it could have been. The special effects on the theater kid when he gets hit with the axe, I thought was exceptional, because it showed, I don't know if anyone else paid as close attention as I did, but it showed the gap created in the skin and his skull. So if he got hit with an axe, it wasn't like it just went straight in. The skin was separated and the axe was in his skull. So it showed where the skin had come down. I thought that was just a really good detail for this film. But like I said, it just misses. I can't explain it other than it just didn't feel fully fleshed out. Felt like they had the idea, they had good actors. It just didn't quite get me there, as close as it got the guy when he was trying to kill the other guy. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, it definitely didn't reinvent the wheel, right? Like, we know that it's a movie we've seen 100 times over. It's Scream meets Sleepaway Camp. My biggest knock on is in the beginning, camp counselor Adam Pally from one of my favorite shows of all time, Happy Endings. I would have liked to have some more of him. I understand why they did that, but it was nice to see him in the beginning. The main kid, Jason Fred Hetchinger, I love that dude so much. He plays the same character all the time, and he plays it well. Him constantly running back and forth, like in the long shots, to the different cabins, like going to get the phones cut because I get cell phones, the phones are gone. Like, he just freaks out. He does this. His love interest. It took me forever to realize who she was. So she was in Torn Hearts. She was the girl duo. She was one of the girls.
That's where I've seen her. Okay.
Yeah. There were okay. TJ, you said this is not one you'll revisit. I've watched this 3 times in 1 week.
3 times.
That's the most times
I didn't say I wouldn't revisit it. I said I would give it a little time before I'd revisit it.
All right, so I watched it twice and I made Lindsay watch it. And that's the most times I've seen a movie in a week since Animaniacs: How I Spent My Summer Vacation came out on VHS. True story. It's got the Deliverance Banjo Kid. It's a great film. Anyways, I thought there were clues to who the killer was when you go back and watch it. After you've seen it 3 times, there's clues. Spoilers, we told you they were there. So the guy, he's the first one there. So the vain kid, Billy, he thought he was supposed to be. We agreed at 9:45. He got there at 9:42, so he was there early. Both their kills are off screen, so that's always a clue there. And then in the very beginning, the girl, she was like starting to say, start a video and saying, today I'm going to show you how to, and then it cuts. So there's all these little breadcrumbs that lead up to who the killers actually are when you go back and watch it for a third time in a week. I'm curious. I thought from the jump that it was Finn and Billy as the killers. Who were your guys' first suspects?
That was mine.
Ben and Billy, yeah, for sure.
I thought it was the girl that that was like the love interest of the guy who was trying to run the camp. I thought it was
She
going to be
seemed a little
her.
suspicious at
She
times.
did,
Yeah,
and
I
she
think-
took off too.
And it would have made sense in the context because everyone was bullying him, and she obviously had some kind of feelings for him. So it would have made sense for her to go around killing all these people that are treating this guy that she has feelings for like trash. But I was wrong.
I was surprised for a movie that he co-wrote and directed that Finn and Billy's characters are basically are kind of like the R2D2 C3PO of this movie that just kind of narrate and have a few funny quips, but they're not at all the centerpiece of
That's
the
one of the
movie.
best scenes in the movie, though, when he's laying there with the knife in him and he pulls it out, and the guy's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You're not never supposed to pull a blade out." And he's like, "I'm gonna die." And he's like, "Oh no, you're fine. It was only like 2 inches deep." He's like, "Oh, you sure? You sure?" Like I thought that was a hilarious.
That was fun.
He
little
might
scene.
have been the second best part of the movie behind Jason. Like you said, the hotness thing, him wanting to know why he hadn't been killed yet, was hilarious, and it runs the entire length of the film. This is a movie you all guys like. It's okay. 50%, 52% is fair, and that is accurate. This is an example of a average to below average movie that I love. I love this movie because it's so fun, it's so simple, it's so stupid, and just Jason's character running back and forth does it for me. I enjoyed it a lot, but it's not a great movie, essentially, and it's not something that, oh, you guys gotta go see this. You are not gonna believe what happens, because we do believe everything that happens. It's nothing different, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the best part was the dialogue, honestly, because it was written by kids starring kids, and it just felt so genuine the entire time. And that's usually a big knock I have on films with teens. And I'm like, they don't talk like this, they're not
Right.
constantly humping the air and doing all this other stuff. So being written by a kid for kids, I thought played very well, at least to me. So I enjoyed it a lot. But other than that, everything we've said, I would just be regurgitating, so we can give our rankings and close up shop. John, what'd you give this one?
So I did like it. Like you said, it didn't reinvent the wheel. I think the movie is more about, it's like a coming of age about him being in his 20s and growing up. It's more about that than being the slasher. And it did sort of remind me of this movie. And this movie that I'm going to mention is way better than this movie, but it had a similar vibe to like Adventureland with Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
great movie.
Which I love that movie. God, that movie is so underrated. So it kind of had that vibe of like, kids kind of in their teens, going to their 20s. They're kind of screwing around. They don't know what they want. And I thought it was interesting. They cut away from a lot of the kills. That kind of hurt it for me. But I'm probably being nice. I don't know if I'm just getting tame in my old age, but I would give this like a 3 out of 5. I like it. I would buy it again. But yeah, I liked it.
Teach?
This is a solid 2.5 for me. And that's not a knock. It's not bad. It's such an average Gen Z modernization of the standard camp slasher without really giving us anything new other than better modern teen dialogue. I do think that is the strength, as Jay alluded to. This, I think what hurts it for me is I knew it had potential if they had shown a few more better visual effects kills, or had a little bit better twist, or maybe a slightly more interesting killer look or something. There's what knocks it down a notch for me from being like a 3.5 is just they had so many opportunities to just do something a little bit different, and they just went straight down the middle except for having updated dialogue. And I will rewatch it. It's not a bad movie. It's probably a good entry level for, like I said, anybody in Gen Z for slashers. but it's not the next Friday the 13th.
No. Kellen?
Yeah, I agree with TJ. 2.5 for me as well, and not a bad 2.5. I know sometimes I give something that's terrible a 2.5. This isn't terrible; it just misses. I do agree that it would be a good entry point for a younger horror fan. If you're going to immediately show them Friday the 13th after, to show them what an absolute masterpiece looks like. Like you can show them this and they'll be like, okay, now here's what a masterpiece looks like when it comes to summer camp horror.
I think that would backfire. I think they would like the one they saw first.
I don't think so. I think in this instance they would be like, oh, the first one was goofy, but the second one, that was really scary. Like they wouldn't be getting in their bed anytime soon for fear of Pamela Voorhees.
I'm so curious. How many Friday the 13th films have you actually seen, Kellen?
Do you want to know the real answer?
I want to know.
Tune
the real
in next
answer.
time for.
I think it's just the first one.
We discussed this with Will Carsolo.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one. I've seen pieces of others, but I've only seen the first one.
Oh,
I mean, he admitted to that on our Friday the 13th.
I've only seen the first three.
We're sorry again.
Nightmare on Elm Streets, and I literally watched 2 and 3 like a couple of months ago. So,
well, you hit the best of Nightmare on Elm Street. 1, 2, and 3 are the best when it comes to that.
I'll just stop there.
I have
one. I didn't actually watch the original Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched the remake. That was the first one I ever saw. I'm kidding. I haven't seen the remake. I didn't watch that. I heard it was trash.
I own the remake, and it's still It's right there. I can see it from here. Sorry, they talk about you all the time. So I gave it a 3 as well. Like I said, I've seen it 3 times in a week, so it's not anything to write home about, but it's a lot of fun. It's rewatchable. And again, I just think Fred Hensher, whatever his name is, he's just so great. I don't remember the Netflix movie, but it's the girl in the window across the street, blah blah blah. Like he was in that. He's in Gladiator 2. He's in Thelma, which I think John has at least seen out of his
yeah.
He was the grandson. He's just always great. He definitely puts this over for me. So all right, that's a 2.75, makes it a 3.
Real quick, I think what would have been better, thinking on it, and you mentioning him a couple of times, and having seen Happy Endings, if Adam Pally, or Polly, however you say his name, if he had been the main guy for the film, as goofy as he is, especially in the Sonic movies, I think that would have been better. I think his brand of almost over-the-top comedy would have hit better in the horror comedy genre than Fred Henchenberg.
Well, I think that pretty similar, I would think.
I feel like Adam's a little more over the top, so I think him running around screaming would have been a little more hilarious. Whereas the other guy around screaming,
I think he's clean now.
Booger sugar.
Anybody else seen Happy Endings?
Mm-mm.
Damon Wayans Jr., Eliza, what's her name? That looks awful now. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It only lasted 3 seasons. It should got more. But
who's the first guy you mentioned? What's his name?
Damon Wayans Jr.
Damon Wayans. Yeah. Fun fact: he actually left the cast of New Girls for that show.
Yeah, he was on the pilot.
When it got canceled, he came back.
Yeah. New Girl's great too. Anyways,
I've seen the movie Happy Endings from the early 2000s.
I've not seen that either. I've seen that one.
All right, what else? Happy Ending? No, so that's 2.75 for Hell of a Summer. We'll call it a 3. And yeah, that's it. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, join our group on Facebook, and come back next week. Signing off, I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ. And until next time,
keep it spooky. And if you're over 25, don't be a camp counselor.
Has anybody seen Gladiator 2?
No, I haven't seen it.
I haven't either. He's one of the sons, Pedro's sons in that.
What's funny is I actually worked at a summer camp for special needs people in Gainesboro. And one of the counselors that I worked with there is now the director, and he's like 40. So he's like a real life version of this guy. Like he just never left the camp.
I thought for sure you were going to bust out a summer camp story, but you didn't.
Well, I could have when you dropped the word earlier in the other recording, but because I used that same word at a summer camp for special needs people, so I'm instantly canceled.
Oh wow!
That could be
canceled.
I thought you were going to talk about getting murder boners.
Kellen's summer camp stories. We'll do a segment. Kellen's summer camp stories.
That'd be a good short.
Oh,
I've got
that'd be
several.
a good YouTube short.
for that week.
That'd be funny.
All right, I'm gonna go eat because I have not eaten.
Oh wow!
Same.
I don't
John,
know how
welcome
you
back.
can do this.
Like riding a bike. Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Thank you.
Johnny boy.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Nice to have someone else to record every now and then.
Are you going to be?
John
Are you
Iron
going to
inept.
be there with us at FrankenCon?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be there Friday and Saturday.
So you're going
I
to be
have
on our
leave-
show with Fright Night.
Yeah, for sure. I got to leave Saturday at like 4 or 5, so I won't be able to go to the Kleine cornfield. I can't do that. But
Where our podcast is at 2, so that'll work.
We're all
yeah,
gonna be
it'll be
there. We're all
fine.
gonna be there
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday. So
Do you want me to record like a couple of summer camp stories?
Yeah, you should.
I would say just
That would be funny.
I would honestly just say mesh them together into one. It depends on how long they are.
Do you have any shitting your pants at a summer camp story?
I have one where I got peed on.
Oh,
you should definitely
That's a great
record
one.
that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I got shaving creamed all the time when I went to camp. To one point, I'm sure I've told this story before, but like I woke up and caught them doing it. They would shaving cream me every night. I woke up, caught them doing it, and like, don't tell them. I'm like, I want as long as you don't get me. They say okay, and I go back to sleep. I wake up and they fucking play tic-tac-toe on my chest with shaving cream.
Oh shit.
And I don't know if that was before or after. I said, don't you be doing that to me now.
Talking about shitting your pants, I never went to 4-H camp, but a kid named Robert Thurman in my high school in 6th grade apparently crapped his and then tried to barricade the door to the cabin shut so they couldn't get in because
wow.
he panicked and didn't know what to do with the poop
Shit.
pants. Yeah.
he panicked shit.
Yeah,
Nice.
you definitely need to put these stories on film.
Yes.
I'm talking about 2025's Hell of a Summer, directed and written by Finn Wolfhard and Billy Burke, also starring. So they did the 3 there.
What? Wait a second. Is this cat's name not Wolfhard?
What did I say?
You
It
said
100%
Wolfhard.
is. How dare you? That was horrifying.
Oh.
I was
Did I
so
say his
embarrassed
name
for
wrong?
you.
Did you say
You said
Wolfman Walford?
Walford.
I was like, have I
Wolfhard.
been mispronouncing his name? all
That's
these
all
years?
right.
I literally just pulled up a YouTube video of him on my phone to hear him say it. I was so taken aback.
Say it again. Wolfhard.
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 It's
Finn
just
Wolfhard.
like exactly how it's spelled.
Phonetically,
Wolfhard.
just what it is.
Roll rewind. Bloop, 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 bloop. And action. Hello and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ. And summer is a fucking 8.
I didn't think you were really
I'm
going
sorry. I'm so tickled.
I couldn't turn your camera off. I couldn't concentrate.
Just go out of frame.
Finn Hardwolf.
And Wolfhard. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Third time's a charm.